themselves.
We have a lemon tree in our front yard. He planted it last year. So I don't think it's gonna do anything this year.
No, it will take time, it will take at least 5-6 years.
A lemon tree and it just didn't like you, Brother Mark?
Didn't like it. They would ripen yellow
Yes.
and be as light as a feather.
Oh,
They
yeah.
wouldn't have any juice in them.
wow.
We
Yeah.
had, 2 lemon trees, but they were, they were sweet lemons. And they were the big ones, and I can't think what they were called.
Not mine.
No, it was another fruit,
Oh,
something lemons. But anyways, they were big and
huge.
they made a lot of juice and
Yes.
that's what we did. We would
Uh-huh.
pick them and
Yeah.
the trees got a fungus on them and I did not know because they're on
Yes.
Doug's part
Yes.
and it killed them.
Oh, man.
It killed them.
I need to read.
Having that stuff takes work, I got enough work.
You
That's
got
how
enough
I
work on
am. My
yourself.
dad wants to talk about all that, and I said, look, I'm just gonna go to the store, what you need, tomatoes, I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy you some, we're not gonna grow them, we're not gonna do that.
I'm gonna go buy them from the fruit
I'm gonna
market.
say, yeah, I can eat 2 tomatoes a month, I'm not growing them for that.
I don't blame you at all.
And I don't even eat them.
Well, I barely eat
Down
them.
vines from my dad that I
Ooh.
planted. And I babied in things until we moved, and they haven't been trimmed since.
Oh, wow.
And now it's like literally wild vine. If I could reclaim them this year, I'm gonna try. For whoever will be there next, won't be us, but because they came from my dad's house, now I'm feeling this, melancholy feeling toward a bunch of musky dying grapes.
I bet. That's some good jelly.
All right.
Brother Mark, before we get
Where's
started,
Mia?
she had to run
She's
errands.
running errands.
She's,
Oh,
She starts teaching school next tomorrow.
oh, okay.
so she's got a bunch of trainings and stuff
Wow.
she's got to go to.
She better start showing up. I did this study just for her.
I just got a
But I-
lecture from my very intellectual brother-in-law
Aw.
that I can read Ezekiel all day long and nobody's gonna know what it means. I said, my preacher does.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. This has become one of the most fascinating things. Yeah, I mean, he goes on and on and on. It's like God cannot reiterate enough what he's about and what he's about to do. Well, when we get to chapter, yeah, when we get to chapter 32, 33, he softens up a bit. But we get, I mean, it takes a while to get there.
Yeah.
And so I mean, Ezekiel's not written just for this period of time, although it addresses directly the idolatry that had become so prevalent in the nation of Israel. But more importantly than that was the synchronistic way in which they were worshiping all these other idols or false gods while also worshiping Yahweh.
That would definitely,
And so this is where it sort of parallels with today's world for a lot of believers, is we do allow things to creep into life that we allow equal footing in our life with Jesus. And I don't think God has changed the way that he deals with these kind of things. We are offered a guarantee through faith that we're saved. But at the same time, there's not going to be any idolaters in heaven when you get there. Okay? So there are many who it's time to make a choice. And here recently, where it's just glaring to me, is in American politics.
yeah.
Yes.
It is just ridiculous how religion is now becoming. It's becoming a political football, and the Senate race in Texas is going to bring it to in full view.
He's gonna lose.
And-
Paxton's gonna lose.
Well, I don't know who's going to win or lose. That's God's business.
That's how the Ricans.
But all I know is that by using the Bible and using faith, that you've put that alongside your political ambitions. So now the line is blurred. Trump did the same thing with his Trump Bible. He blurred those lines. And God doesn't stand for that. He desires a fidelitous heart where the contrast is stark. So, this is why I believe God goes on and on with Ezekiel and repeats in various ways exactly what the problem is and exactly what he's going to do about it.
And how long has this been going on with Israel? How many years?
Hundreds.
Okay, well, I'm looking at all of that, and I was listening to you this morning, and I'm thinking, why would I want to go back? I've been doing this for so long, and it's just so easy to do this. It's a little bit harder to follow all of God's laws and to go walk to the, to Jerusalem for,
Right, right.
I mean, they're not gonna change, that I can see, and it's steadily going up to that. They
Yeah.
don't know what it is anymore. They're so happy being,
And this is exactly the problem
Yes.
that they had.
yes,
Uh,
that's right, then and there and now.
They had confused it to the
Yes.
point to where when the sun rose and they worshiped the sun,
Yep.
they believed they were worshiping Yahweh.
Oh,
And early on, you go all the way back to Leviticus and Deuteronomy, God says, you never bow a knee to a created thing. And yet they were doing it and justifying it as it being Yahweh himself. And the truth of it is, this had all come from other Mesopotamian cultures.
and that was
That had
kings as
greatly
well who
influenced.
would bend a knee to, and kings are not their gods.
Right.
And that's happening in our.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
So the lessons are still to be learned.
Hang out at the beach or go to a mountaintop sometime and watch people.
In how during the time of Ezekiel, Isaiah, the Babylonians, God brought them in as enemies, conquered Israel, took the Israelites away to their own countries or scattered them, as the Assyrians did. Nowadays, that cannot be done politically. No country does that. But do you think, is that why we are getting such an influx of Muslims, of Hindus coming in, spreading their temples and all that? That's like a punishment to us now? Because we cannot be taken away, but we have to suffer under them.
I still believe in the freedom that America offers for religious people, and so our responsibility to that freedom is great. And so people that come in of different religions, different cultures, if they want to in some sort of way pervert or destroy our liberty, then and we do nothing about it, I think that's the punishment that God is offering is that I've given you this and you've done nothing about it.
I mean, that's one of those both
Exactly.
and things.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are not protecting it.
Right.
So that is a kind of punishment, right?
It is, because we're not paying attention to the gift of freedom.
If
And
we were doing our job, those churches wouldn't be growing.
that's correct.
You know, so they
That's
can
correct.
come, this is America where they're free to do that.
Yes.
But if we were speaking the truth and telling the
Exactly.
people, they would, why
Right.
do I want that? That's not true.
That's right.
And they would automatically just fade
Yeah.
away. That was, but to me, that's the both and thing. We're suffering the consequences for
E-
it growing, but
yeah.
it's also, they should have the freedom because they're in America.
And the truth of the gospel has a very difficult time overcoming works religions.
Yeah.
And that's what that is.
Everybody wants to find what.
Their way
what that thing is
and
that I can do.
and their ability to do it.
I shouldn't have to surrender and I
Yeah.
shouldn't have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yes, those religions appease
Yeah.
their own pride.
With their own need wants.
And
yeah.
the Christian faith really is the only honest religion in the world when it comes to the fact that we have no abilities, that we have no right standing with Creator God or with our Savior. The only right standing that we have is by His grace.
We're bought with a price.
Yeah, that's right.
We're slaves, whether they want to think we are or not.
Slaves in a good way.
So
A good slave,
Yes.
good kind of slavery.
we will start with verse. All right, so how I'm going to do this tonight,
Okay.
6 and 7 are pretty straightforward. There wasn't a lot that was overly interesting about it other than what he says, except for a couple of textual things that are not in the notes. I didn't quite have time to put it together, but we'll talk about it, and you'll see. You'll say to yourself, how in the world does some of these things come about? And we're going to look at it. So beginning with verse 1 of 6, it says, the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, face the mountains of Israel and prophesy against them. You are to say, mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord God. This is what the Lord God says to the mountains and the hills, to the ravines and the valleys. I am about to bring a sword against you, and I will destroy your high places. So what is going on here? All around the mountains that surrounded Jerusalem were what? High places. Okay, what were the high places? This is where the other gods and idols were worshipped. Not only there, but there, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so Asherah, Baal, others, they had little shrines set up, and they would go worship on these mountains around. So what God is saying is, I'm calling down destruction upon these high places. All right? Your altars will be desolated, and your shrines smashed. I will throw down your slain in front of your idols, meaning that those who worship these other gods, these idolic figures, okay, they're done for. I'm doing away with them. All right? I will lay the corpses of the Israelites in front of their idols and scatter your bones around your altars. Very descriptive. Wherever you live in the cities will be in ruins, and the high places will be desolate, so that your altars will lie in ruins and desecrated, your idols smashed and obliterated, your shrines cut down, and what you have made wiped out. The slain will fall among you, and you will know that I am the Lord. Okay? So what's he calling on? What's he calling down? He is destroying any reference left in Israel of idol worship, of worship of any other kind of God. And not just the idols are going to be destroyed, those who worship them will be destroyed. As we move through, we will discover all the various means by which God is designed to punish and to destroy this heretical behavior. All right. He says, yet I will leave a remnant when you are scattered amongst the nations, for throughout the countries there will be some of you who will escape the sword. Okay? There will be some, okay, that will not be destroyed in this process. And he calls them a remnant. He doesn't yet say that they're faithful. He's just saying that there are going to be those who are left to bear testimony. Then your survivors will remember me among the nations where they were taken captive, how I was crushed by their promiscuous hearts that turned away from me, and by their eyes that lusted after their idols. So what is he saying? There are going to be those who are spared, and what they're going to say, and I might as well just use the words that are here. It says, where they are taken captive, how I was crushed by their whoring hearts that turned away from me, and by their eyes that lusted after their idols. So he's using sexual language to describe their desire and devotion to these idols. Okay? They will loathe themselves because of the evil things they did, their detestable actions of every kind. And they will know that I am the Lord. I did not threaten to bring this disaster on them without a reason. Okay? So what is he saying here? Those that are the remnant are going to understand. They're going to be given understanding as to why God is doing this, so that they can bear testimony to it and also experience within their own heart their own failure, their own abject failure of loyal love to God. And he says, when I do all of this, this is how they're going to know that I'm doing this for a reason. Not like that may be understood by others that this is all Babylon and Nebuchadnezzar doing this. God's making it plain in that last line. All that is happening to Jerusalem is because I've chosen it to happen and have orchestrated it to happen. Okay, any comments or questions about that?
No, other than those that are left, being the remnant, seeing and knowing, I don't think they make it either if I was reading.
Well, earlier he said that there's a remnant and then some of them get chopped to bits.
Yeah,
Okay? So
okay.
being chosen does not make you fidelitous. They were elected for or chosen for a reason.
Yes, okay.
This
And
is
it
one of
wasn't
those,
for their goodness.
and this is a lesson. We use the word election often, that God elected us for something, and that gets us into heaven. Okay? But that is not the way the word election is used in the Old Testament. All it means is that God chose you for a thing, whatever that thing is. So he has elected you for that. Okay? Still your job to fulfill it. The people of Israel were elected by God, okay, to be his spokespersons to the world, and they did not fulfill it. So it is the elect that are actually being carried off into exile. Yeah. So this is what the Lord God says. Clap your hands, stamp your feet, and cry out over all the evil and detestable practices of the house of Israel, who will fall by the sword, famine, and plague. We've heard that trio before.
Yes.
The one who is far off will die by plague. All right? Why does he say that? Because a plague can be anywhere.
Right. And if
Okay.
they're in the city with the swords fighting and stuff,
That's
those
right.
people are not going to get whacked with the sword.
The one who is near,
They'll get-
fall by the sword.
Yep.
The one who remains and is spared will die of famine. Meaning what? All of this means there's no escape.
And if you have famine, that's going to cause a plague, and it's
Yeah.
just, it's not stopping.
And God is in control of that pestilence and the famine. So
Yes.
They can't say it's global warming,
No.
or it's this, or it's
Right.
that.
La
It is
Nina or
God-
whatever
It is
else.
God Almighty.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's speaking loud.
So he says, in this way I will exhaust my wrath on them.
That's heavy.
That's everything.
Yeah.
You will all know that I'm the Lord when their slain lie among their idols, around their altars, on every hill, on all the mountaintops, and under every green tree and every leafy oak, the places where they offered pleasing aromas to all their idols. Again, we're carried back to Leviticus and Deuteronomy, where God is describing his the pleasantry of burning incense in his presence. Now they've given that pleasantry to these other gods. Okay? I will stretch out my hand against them, and wherever they live, I will make the land a desolate waste, from the wilderness to Riblah. Then they will know that I'm the Lord. So the second time in that chapter, he ends a section
Do
saying,
they
then they'll
not? They
know.
know the Lord already, though. Do they not?
No.
Not like
They
that.
lost all sight
No,
of it.
not like that. But they just totally,
Yeah.
even Yahweh became one of the idols, basically. He was just along for the ride, so to
Yeah,
speak.
when we get to chapter 8 next week, we'll see
Okay.
exactly how synchronistic they had become, where in the temple were idols of other gods
That blows my
alongside.
That's
Yeah.
enough just to, but yeah, he was lenient.
What's the timeline around when all this is happening?
So this is happening, so there had already been 2 exiles of people from Jerusalem into Babylon. This is between the second and third. All right? So the divided kingdom has long since passed, because the northern kingdom was carried into exile many years earlier. And
This
since
is
that
way
time,
before the flood and all that. This is way back after.
this is
500
after
years
David.
creation.
Yeah, this is like in the 500 and 600 BC. Yeah. So Yeah, they had already gone through, the Assyrians had carried off the northern kingdom and done terrible, horrible things in the northern kingdom. If you read the annals of the Assyrians, Dr. Michael Heiser used to describe them as the Klingons of the Old Testament. They were so cruel. They could invent all these new ways to be cruel. And actually, having the Assyrians be conquered by the Babylonians was probably a big favor to the world, because the Assyrians were so evil, bloodthirsty, and just horrible, 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 horrible culture. Yeah.
When all this was being told to the captives, Israel and whatnot, what were the other people that had captured them doing? Were they a witness to this? Did they have a clue what was going on?
The other people, that Babylon?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
whoever
everybody knew. Everybody, the whole world knew.
So,
Later we find out that he,
Like us watching Russia and
Yeah.
Ukraine.
so,
that makes sense.
so Edom, we find out later, is rejoicing over the fact that Jerusalem falls, and God says, don't you do it.
No, don't.
I'm gonna get you for that too.
That's right.
He goes all the way around the neighborhood and condemns everybody for not sticking up for Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Although it wouldn't have helped.
Jerusalem was in sin anyway.
So-
It's the positions that they took. They were cheering on the destruction of God's chosen city
Yeah.
and God's
And
people.
God told them from the get-go, why do you need judges in the first place? Why do you need a king? I am your king.
Yeah.
And look what happens. He
Well-
gave them judges, and that just ruined everything.
And you go back, and God in Deuteronomy, he says when a king comes among you.
Yeah,
So he's preparing them for a king, but they wanted their king.
That's right.
They didn't want the one that he wanted to provide for them. They wanted their own king at their own time to, quote unquote, be like everybody else
that's
in the
exactly.
neighborhood. And that was the problem, was God had set them apart not to be like any other. And their desire for a king was so they could be just like everybody else. And that was really the beginning of the end. David's just a bright spot in the middle of all of that,
Yeah.
that we don't always visualize, because we make so much of David, and he was a great king.
Yes.
But Solomon, right on the heels of David,
Mm.
allows for all this to happen. And then it's just capitalized upon by those that follow Solomon.
Yeah.
Brother Mark, I don't mean to stop you.
Yes, no, that's all right.
Okay, so, no, the flood of Noah's has already happened at this point?
Oh, yeah.
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 And this is still going on after all that happened?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so after the flood of Noah, you got the whole Abraham
Yeah,
and
Moses
patriarch
comes back
saga.
after that.
It gets them out of
Yeah.
Egypt.
Yeah, then he brings them out of Egypt, brings them into the promised land,
Thrown by the drugs.
go through that period of time where they're ruled by tribal judges, basically, and they had no unification at all, and had really lost sight of God's provision for them by that time. And then along comes the prophet Samuel, who becomes God's spokesperson. The people start demanding a king from Samuel because they want to be like everybody else in the neighborhood. So God says, well, choose him. He's the tallest one. I mean, that was Saul's qualification, was that he was a head taller than everybody else, and was a bad king because God had already chosen David. And then David becomes king, establishes really not even the golden age of the nation, but establishes it for Solomon. Solomon's reign is considered the golden age because he consolidated all these outlying city-states into Israel and became an economic powerhouse. The only problem with Solomon was that he allowed foreign gods to be worshipped out in the open in Israel. And after he died, his son couldn't keep the nation together.
What's his son's name?
Rehoboam.
Okay, I wanna make sure that
Yeah,
I've got that,
and from there,
yeah.
you,
Downhill.
now you're
Yeah.
falling into this divided kingdom and ultimately what happens here. So that's a very thumbnail sketch of the whole historical drama
Yeah, I'm
that
just
goes
trying to put
on.
my mindset to live back in that time period where these events had to be so dramatic when they happened. How could you have any other belief of anything? I mean, today we got so much stuff going on, most of the people don't even
Yeah.
believe this happened back then.
Right, right.
So, but you living in that time frame, and these people are telling you that this went on, and you're seeing
This is gonna go
things that's being done. His presence is being shown a lot more than it is today.
And well, yeah, because actually what Ezekiel's describing hasn't even happened yet.
Right, this
This is
gonna come in
coming-
the dream still, right?
Yeah, 17 chapters later.
Well,
Right.
he's doing this stuff.
So this
in
is a
front of the
prophecy
people.
that he's offered.
Yeah, he's warning.
Okay.
Himself and everything
Right.
else, yeah.
So my
And-
thing is, when he's telling them this, I mean, you gotta have so many people that don't believe don't even believe it, right?
Right, see, he's telling this to people that are already in exile. They are thinking that they've been punished, but the people that still remain in Jerusalem have been blessed by God for being there.
Right,
And Ezekiel's telling them, hold up. They're gonna be brought to destruction
Yeah,
too.
Their turn's coming.
Yeah, because all of you have been idolatrous toward God. Nobody escapes. That's why the Edomites don't escape. That's why the Babylonians aren't going to escape. Everybody's going to get what they got coming because they worship other gods.
Wow.
Okay? So this is why when we use that idea that people have other things in their life that are more important than God, you can call it whatever you want. God has no patience with that. And so the blessing of the cross is that forgiveness awaits us. We can make the horrible mistake of worshiping something else in our life and come to our senses like the little brother did in the prodigal son story. And
Yes.
we can come back and beg forgiveness, and we receive it with spades. I mean, we receive an abundance of God's grace.
And how.
That's what the cross does.
So that's why God's not gonna turn on us right now. He's not
But I
so
mean, that's what I was
angry.
gonna say, he would be just as wrathful, or is going to be just as wrathful
Yeah, if he-
because of the cross. It's
That's
like,
right.
I paid the way, I
That's
sent
right.
my
Yeah, so
son,
be-
and we're gonna be
Yes.
totally without it. I mean, we can live under grace, but we've cheapened it.
That's right. Cannot cheapen
What
it.
a good
So
phrase,
God's not
cheapened
gonna
it.
come do all that over again
Mm-mm.
because of the cross.
No, he is, but it's gonna be
No.
at the very
It's
end.
different.
he's
Yeah.
gonna be a little madder this time.
But that-
Well, no,
that'll
He
be-
gave his son this time.
Yeah.
that'll
This
be
is-
when Jesus comes back.
This is
Right.
the cross is where God says, I've dealt with the sin problem.
Yeah,
Right.
it is finished. Yeah.
I have dealt with the sin problem. But many of you have not.
That's right.
Okay? You have to deal with the sin problem. And I've placed the perfect sacrifice for you to do so. And the only thing that you do to deal with your sin problem is to ask Him for forgiveness. And you will receive it, and you will be with Him forever. But we're not, we can't say, Lord, forgive me,
still
and
live
then
like the
still
devil. That's
behave
right.
in an idolatrous, unloyal manner.
Yeah, that's what I mean by
Which-
he's gonna still be. I
Yeah.
mean, the cross means that much more,
That's right.
you know.
So when you say that Dietrich Bonhoeffer writes the book on grace, and he coins that term, cheap grace or costly grace. If we try to live under cheap grace, we're going to get this.
Mm.
We're going to get this. Because God hasn't changed in the way that He deals with our abomination of His love for us. Costly grace means that we are willing to give of ourselves, even the worst of ourselves, in order to receive the forgiveness that God has made available. That way, what Jesus did on the cross carries the full weight of what it is meant to carry. Okay? This is very important because, as Billy Graham said, you know, when he looks across the church and he's preaching, he knows that 20% of the people there are going to hell.
Yeah,
Mm.
you said it this morning
Yeah, you
Well-
sure
in
did.
our message, in your message today.
Yep.
Who are we living amongst?
He wasn't talking about me, I only been here about 4 or 5 years.
It could be bribery.
I'm talking about the ones he said that we know are
I
lost. How
know,
are
he
they
said
doing?
19 years.
Well, he
Yeah.
said, outside of us, brother.
Yeah.
Who's speaking, who's talking, how are they living?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're walking right beside them, working right beside them, and are we speaking the truth?
And this is the weighty issue of our salvation. If it becomes something that is only for me, in a real sense, that's idolatrous. Because now who's at the center?
You are.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a lot to consider. And we don't always give it the consideration it deserves.
And this is not the God that people want to hear about. They
No.
like the one that's loving and gives you everything. You can have 5 jets,
He
and you
never
can
gave me
have this. and-
You like to ride in that tube of demons.
That's right.
Vending machine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have one more, I'm trying to grasp this, and I apologize to y'all.
Oh, no,
So when
man.
you say he's
We love
gonna,
it.
he's gonna come down with the sword, and he's gonna destroy it, does that mean he's not gonna physically do that himself, he's gonna have other nations come in and destroy him?
That's what
But
he
like
means
with
by
Solomon
this.
and
Yes.
Goliath, he come down, he reigned on them from above and destroyed them, right?
So, Sodom and Gomorrah, you mean?
Yeah, Solomon and
Oh,
Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
So
yeah,
I'm trying to figure out what the difference is. If he wants to end it, he has the ability to do that without anybody else.
that's right.
Exactly.
That's exactly
So-
right.
So just like, and and I apologize for this, but just like us over there with Iran right now, is he using us to do that? Because if he really wanted it done, he could do it without using us.
Okay,
So that's where I'm kind of confused.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm-
that's our job, is to be used by him to do things like that.
I'm not sure of any theological implications of what's going on between our country and Iran or anybody else for that matter.
Right, not just using them as
Yeah.
a reference, but
Yeah.
anybody at war.
Yeah. Now, does God use other countries to deal with evil that exists? Does he use earthly powers to deal with evil on earth?
Right, that's the question I guess
Yeah.
I'm asking.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I tend to believe that he does, while at the same time, his kingdom is separate from that. Okay? And that's where we get a little
Might not
hung
make
up.
us no better than them, but he's using us to get rid of them right now, just like he did right
That's
here.
a perfectly good way to say
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
We don't necessarily have to
correlate
be
all this
saved
whole.
for him to use
He
it.
Yeah,
can use
because-
us to destroy somebody else,
Yeah.
but that doesn't make us better.
Nope.
He
Right.
just used us to get what he wanted,
Yeah.
to do that. But just
Obviously,
like what's
because
happening right
the
here.
Babylonians were horrible people,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, and it goes back to what I mentioned this morning.
Oh, yes.
We don't have any ability to determine what is good.
Right.
And so we can take a position that is good for us, okay?
Yeah.
But what makes that right? Okay? The only way that becomes right is if it aligns with what God desires.
Yes, that's where I was thinking.
And so-
We can know what's good according to him.
That's right.
Not what's good according to us.
We don't get to define it. So we can say all day that what's happening is a good thing, that the Ayatollah has been out for the United States for 47 years.
They've just
But
made
I
it
can't
worse,
with
though,
great confidence say that God would say it's a good thing.
Right.
Because they've made it worse. We made it worse, that the younger.
Well, this
Ayatollahs-
time we made it worse maybe, but maybe we didn't.
Yeah.
You know, that's all a political
We
perspective.
didn't.
Yeah.
Right,
This
that's why I was
is-
kinda
this is-
asking.
Now you have
Yeah.
a younger
In the
Ayatollah.
beginning-
The,
A lot meaner than his father ever was.
Right.
But we
But
didn't
he's-
start
he's
anything.
not gonna live
They
much
just
longer. Don't
came
worry
into
about him.
power and
But
started
see, what we're
doing
what we're
He's going in
speaking
the
of
same bad
here,
shape in the hospital.
what we're speaking of here is political, national
Matters.
matters
Yes.
that do not matter to God at all.
That's right. That's right.
What matters to God? That not one person be lost.
That's right.
Okay.
That means them too.
So we have to make up our mind. If we're going to claim to be a Christian nation,
Yeah.
then I'm here to tell you, you don't drop bombs. I mean,
Are we
so
blaming
you,
Christian
so you have,
But not to chase this rabbit.
yeah, I know we're on a real rabbit hole
I
now.
I'm sorry.
But the
I don't
Muslim
think that the
faith,
Vatican
the
is.
Islam that does want to control the world, their religion and politics are the same. So therefore,
see.
it does make it, it can become a quote, holy war
Ours are separate.
for
Yeah.
them. But for us as Christians, it should not be about the war. It should not be, because that's not God, it's not God's will for us to go obliterate everyone.
No.
That's
His
right.
will is for us to have life and have it more
Abundant.
abundantly.
Like, we
So-
should be, we
and
should
back
be
to,
diplomatic.
if we're doing our job as believers and Christians, we should be living the life, and they should
That's right.
want Jesus.
So-
And they should denounce that.
Yes, and in our country, it should be clear
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
because
and it's not.
of everything, and it's not.
Yeah.
And so-
therefore, yeah,
The whole point is, what's God gonna do with that?
yeah.
Well,
He's gonna win.
Just scared.
we're still called upon
Yeah.
to get on our knees and to ask forgiveness and ask for his guidance.
And pray for
That'll
themselves.
never change.
No.
And it is, even in the midst of everything that's happening in the world, it still is pretty evident that one voice can make a difference.
And we have missionaries right there buried deep in them that we should pray for daily,
Yes.
because they're over there, as far as I'm concerned, they're the warriors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
They're over there in their
Gosh,
homes trying to reach those, and that's the reason revival's taking place in some of
Oh,
those.
many places,
Yeah, those
yeah.
areas, because they are hearing the truth, but the government, of course, is still in power.
So this is how a conversation of cheap grace and costly grace
Yes.
Yeah.
really takes on its full form and what we're involved with right now. And then you bring that closer to home with, like I mentioned this morning, people that we know that are not saved and know that are in danger of eternal damnation, and we do nothing of it. That grace is just as cheap, because our ability to do something about it right there, right now, is wide open and available.
And what you were saying about not listening or not doing, if it's your family, and I'll probably get emotional, if it's your family, you can't stop. You have to keep on it.
That's
If
right.
God's saying you're wasting your time, well, am I
Sometimes,
wrong
no,
for
No.
But sometimes they
continuing
just
to
don't want
stay
to
on
listen
my
at
family?
all.
I-
They just don't want to listen at all. And it's so much of what you said, that
Yes.
I'll be good and I'll get my way to
Yeah.
heaven.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, that doesn't work.
No,
That doesn't work,
No.
you know.
And it's the word that they have to know, not us.
that's right.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
We can say it all day long as mamas, y'all,
Agreed,
but
yes.
it's gonna have
Yes,
to be.
and that's also another reason why most people get misled, is because they don't actually know the word.
Yes.
That's right.
They hear whatever people
There
are
is
saying.
no one
Yeah.
righteous, no, not one.
This is
That's
why we
right.
rely on the Spirit's leadership.
Yeah.
Everything Jesus did was by the leadership of the Spirit.
Only say what we hear
What
our
his
Father
father,
say.
yes, yes.
And that's a hard one, because he made our tongues want to say more
Love to wag
sometimes.
that thing.
Especially as your mother.
That's right.
All right, chapter 7, and it's long, we're gonna fly.
Yeah.
This is just, there's one textual thing here that's really interesting that we'll go over really quickly. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, this is what the Lord God says to the land of Israel. The end has come on the four corners of the earth. All right, what he's speaking of here. This is total.
Yeah.
All right, what I'm doing is total. The end is now upon you. I will send my anger against you and judge you according to your ways. Remember when Jesus says that you'll be judged the way you judge. Okay? Well, this is Jesus' words are an iteration of this. Okay? I'm judging you according to the way you've behaved, basically.
Yeah.
I will punish you for all your detestable practices. I will not look on you with pity or spare you, but I will punish you for your ways and for your detestable practices within you. Then you will know that I'm the Lord. All right. Have you figured it out yet? That's a section. Every time you hear, then you know that I'm the Lord.
Yes.
He's made a point. And the point that he's made here is he repeats himself over and over again. You're going to be punished. You're going to be punished. You're going to be punished.
Jeez.
Don't mistake what's happening to you as some geopolitical movement by Babylon. You're being punished by me.
Or kind of like that he's telling you this and he's not really gonna do it. Like,
Right.
there was an analogy about the
Right.
parents, you know. If I tell you not to do this, you're gonna get 5
Yeah.
licks, and you do it. Dixie better give 5 licks.
Yeah.
Period, because that's what I said, and that's what I
That's
have
right.
to enforce that. And God's the same way, he's not gonna back
And,
down.
and now remember, the people that are hearing this are already in exile.
Yeah.
They know that they've been
Oh, yeah,
punished.
yeah.
They're hearing now that if there's no Jerusalem and there's no temple, there's no hope.
That's right.
Okay, this is what they're hearing. All right? This is what the Lord God says. Look, one disaster after another is coming. An end has come. The end has come. It has awakened against you. Look, it is coming. Doom has come upon you, the inhabitants of the land. The time has come. The day is near. There will be panic on the mountains and not a celebration. Are we going to zip back to that word doom? This is one of those
I wanna
textual.
ask something real quick.
Uh-huh.
Is this Ezekiel speaking this to the people? I wanna make sure
Yes.
that this, God's not, he's talking only to Ezekiel, and Ezekiel's,
These are the words. If you
Oh.
remember at the beginning,
Okay.
God says, you're not going to open your mouth
that's
until I tell
right.
you to open it.
I just wanna make sure that I'm not losing sight of that.
So that's what we have here.
Okay,
Okay, this word doom
yeah.
is a wild word. Does your translations all say doom?
Yes.
Nobody says a crown? Good. You're all reading a modern translation. The word here is the same word for diadem.
Oh,
Everybody knows what a diadem
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the circular crown, okay, that went on their head. So there were two kinds of crowns, but the diadem was the one that would have set down kind of like a headband around your head. Not the kind that would have been full and,
like,
yeah.
Okay.
like a
Okay.
band.
Yeah,
So some translations will say the iron collar has been placed around your neck
Oh,
or has come upon you.
oh.
This chooses the word doom. So how do we get from diadem to doom? All right, this is how you do it. And this is one of those textual things that they look at and they say, how can there be a crown come upon them in the midst of all this destruction that God is promising? The word's used again in verse 12, and we'll look at it in its context there. Well, in the Hebrew, if you change one vowel point, it now goes from diadem to doom or iron collar. Okay? So when you study through this, Dan Block's commentary probably does the best that I read. But he says that there's that this chapter is literally littered with this kind of problem. How do we make sense of what is being said? And in this particular case, if you change the vowel point, it goes from crown to doom. And that makes more sense. So the assumption is that when it was copied, diadem, the vowel for diadem was put in place of the vowel that would have made the word doom. So we've got that. But
I say,
There's-
is that meaning they think it was a transcriptional error?
yeah, transcribal, that's why they call it a textual error.
Because my mind's already on the but go ahead.
Yeah.
but,
Or there are commentators that will say, a crown has come upon you, meaning the crown of destruction that you have chosen.
Okay.
I was gonna
Has
say,
come
you have
upon
chosen
you.
to put this on you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So both are very possible. And it seems in the modern translations that they've chosen to go with the textual problem rather than try to make the interpretive jump.
And it may not be a problem, that God might be saying, I wanted to give you a crown that you belong to me, the royal kingdom, but you have chosen, let's take this vow out, and you've chosen doom.
Yeah. So, but when it says the crown has come upon you,
Yes.
that means this is something new.
Yeah,
And so
but for it to be a
the way
vow,
that you would
yeah.
the way that you would envision that is that they have chosen a crown that is idolatrous and therefore destructive.
That's right.
I can go either way.
Yeah.
I'm not a textual critic by any means. My brain is much too, I saw a CT of it the other day. That's much too small
But
to
didn't-
be doing that kind of
We
work.
just learned that under Shadia.
Yeah.
When we were studying Tamar, she's very Middle Eastern.
yes.
And she
Yeah.
talked about how so many of the Hebrew words, that one vowel, but is purposeful. That's where my mind was going, because it's
Yeah.
almost opposite.
Yeah.
If the word goes one way or whatever, when you look at what it means, it's almost purposeful to be
Yeah.
that way.
So obviously I don't have all the textual information in front of me, and if I did, I wouldn't know how to teach you.
We don't speak Hebrew.
That's it.
Because it's always complicated. But as you look through, you can look through the theological word book of the Old Testament, and it has a crown, a circling the head, a diadem. It can also, let's see, let me find them all. It can also mean a he-goat.
A he-goat?
Yeah, don't ask me why.
Okay.
So there's several places where you begin to look at all of this and you think, guys that interpret this stuff for a living, they really got a hard job.
They sit there for hours upon hours looking at one or two words.
One or two words, yeah. And then have to go to a committee of other scholars and
Say, am I
have
looking
everybody
at
try to
this
figure it
correct?
out.
What's your
Which is
take on
amazing
this?
to me.
And I can tell you all this, in my study, I always try to stick to what I can determine to be as close to the, I can't say original because we don't have original, but the oldest.
Oh, yeah.
But in a situation like this, we don't have that. So we depend on some very smart people to try to make a decision for us. I just wanted to point that out. The point is doom. Doom has come on the inhabitants of the land. The time has come, the day is near. There will be panic on the mountains and not celebration. I will pour out my wrath on you very soon. Still speaking about Jerusalem. I will exhaust my anger. He's already used that. And I will judge you according to your ways. Again, he repeats that. I will punish for your... He repeats that. You've got to begin to wonder, why does he spend so much time repeating all of this?
So it would sink into some of their heads.
Yes. What he's speaking of is total.
That's right.
It's total.
And if you didn't hear it, maybe your neighbor did, so you never better tell you.
Yeah. Then in 10, here's that word doom again.
Yeah.
Here is the day, here it comes. Doom, same word as I discussed earlier, is on its way. But here we have more confusion.
No, right.
The rod has blossomed. Arrogance has bloomed. Now, if you look back, what is the significance of a rod blossoming? Anybody remember?
Moses' rod.
Aaron's staff
Aaron's staff.
that budded.
And it's in the Ark of the Covenant, hidden somewhere.
Yeah. Hidden in a government warehouse somewhere. So that rod, when it budded, that's how God chose Aaron's line to be the priest. So it was a rod of choosing.
Yes.
Oh, so
Well, here it says
your
the rod has blossomed, meaning what?
you've
You have chosen this.
You have chosen this.
Yeah, that's right. This is a big discussion in the commentary.
Tried
Okay.
and budded.
And then again, violence has grown into a rod of wickedness.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of goes, and affirms that rod has.
That's right.
Because you're wicked.
That's right.
Turned into wickedness, yeah.
So God has taken the known idea of being chosen, of Aaron being chosen because of the rod that budded, and now saying that because of the rod that you possess, I have chosen you for destruction. All right? Violence has grown out of a rod of wickedness. None of them will remain, none of that crowd, none of their wealth, none of the eminence among them. The time has come, the day has arrived. Let the buyers not rejoice and the seller not mourn, for wrath is on her whole crowd. The seller will certainly not return to what was sold as long as he and the buyer remain alive. So what's he saying here? Total economic collapse.
Yep.
Nothing left. Okay? The person that's bought at a good price, that's what that means. You don't buy at a bad price. You
Right.
buy at a good price. They won't be rejoicing. The person that's selling won't be mourning. None of this is going to matter at all. For the vision concerning her whole crowd will not be revoked. And because of the iniquity of each one, no one will preserve his life. They have blown the trumpet and prepared everything, but no one goes to war, for my wrath is on her whole crowd. Meaning that you can prepare to fight this,
Yeah,
but it's going to be futile
that's right.
because my wrath's already come against you.
Yeah,
You can't fight God.
Nope.
Is the point.
that's right.
Okay? The sword is on the outside. Okay, so this begins a short little description of siege warfare, which is what Israel suffered, what Jerusalem suffered. So siege warfare is this. The city is surrounded. Most of these city-states had fields outside that were provided their food. First thing the enemy does is go in and burn the food source and cut off all water supply. And then you trap everybody inside the walls of their own city. So their walls of protection become their ring or their doom of death. All right? So now, waste can't be carried out of the city. If you leave the city for any reason, you're going to get killed
That's
by the sword.
right, too. Yeah,
Well, disease follows that.
Yep.
Plague.
that's right.
Okay? So this is what Jerusalem, this is what ultimately happened to Jerusalem after they chose to go behind Nebuchadnezzar's back and make an alliance with Egypt. He came and he just did this. He conducted siege warfare against them.
Well, if they were to have surrendered and say, look, would that have saved them?
No.
I mean, I'm just thinking, but Nebuchadnezzar.
This is like strike three.
Okay.
This was his
So
third
he's not-
time
he's
dealing
not
with
giving in,
them.
He's just gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not coming out, they're not surrendering, I won't accept it.
In fact,
Okay.
this king that went behind his back was the one that he set up to be the king of his little vassal city.
Yeah,
And so that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. If the guy that I chose is not going to do right, then he had his whole family killed in front of him, then blinded him and carried him off. Yeah. The famine and plague will devour whoever is in the city. The survivors among them will escape and live on the mountains like doves of the valley, and all of them will moan, each over his own iniquity. If anyone does escape, life is going to be miserable for them because they know that it was their own behavior, their own lack of loyalty to Yahweh that brought all of this upon the city. Their hands will become weak, and all of their knees will run with urine.
mine just says turn to water.
I
Meant
know,
it lightly.
but this is
Okay.
what it really means.
Okay.
It's a euphemism that says they're going to be so scared and so troubled by what's happening that they're going to wet themselves.
Okay.
Just get ready. This is the mild language that Ezekiel uses.
Okay.
Okay?
I want to understand why we're doing it, though. Make sure I know exactly what you're saying.
He is making the point as plainly as he can.
Yeah.
They will put on sackcloth, and horror will overwhelm them. Shame will cover their faces, and all their heads will be bald. This is the ones that managed to escape. All their heads will be bald will mean what? They've had to shave their heads. Remember when Ezekiel shaved his head earlier?
Right.
It was a disgrace to shave your head. Okay,
Was
you
that
didn't
for
do
all the
it.
people, not just the priests then? It was for,
That's right,
okay.
that's right.
Men, women, whoever, nobody was bald.
You didn't shave your head, yeah.
Okay.
Man, there's some crazy reasons why you didn't, but they didn't do
Is
that.
that in Deuteronomy, we can find that?
No.
Okay.
It's a cultural
So
thing
if they
too.
escape, and who's, they're gonna shave their own heads, or somebody's gonna?
No, they
They're gonna
shouldn't.
shave their own heads.
Yep, because they're ashamed of
It
themselves.
was to believe to be a part of their ability to reproduce,
Really?
and to lose your hair took away that ability.
Oh, yes,
Which
yes,
means it was
yes.
taking away the line that would follow, or prodigy,
Okay.
or anything like that. So I mean, it was the end of it. That's
Yeah.
just another way of saying,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, makes sense.
they would throw their silver into the streets, and their gold will seem like something filthy. Their silver and gold will be unable to save them in the day of the Lord's wrath. Now, some commentators take this to mean just money has no value because they're under siege.
Right,
Others take it to mean that the silver and gold that they've taken and made idols out of
uh-huh,
are of no use to them anymore.
okay.
They certainly can't eat it to survive.
No.
And worshiping them has got them to the place where they are.
Mm-hmm,
So he's saying that it's totally worthless. They will not satisfy their appetites or fill their stomachs, for these were the stumbling blocks that brought about their iniquity, meaning that it was their injustice toward the poor, letting them starve while the others went well fed. That whole description is about their ability to be unjust to their own brothers, okay? He appointed his beautiful ornaments for majesty, but they made them detestable images, from them, their abhorrent things. We'll get into this language a little more in chapter 16.
okay.
So it says, therefore I have made them into something filthy to them. I don't want to go through it twice. Once will be bad enough. I will hand these things over to foreigners as plunder, and to the wicked of the earth as spoil, and they will profane them. So everything that was taken, that was made as an idol and function in some sort of way as the worship of other gods, he's given away. He will give it away to the conquerors. Okay. And the violent men that come in will profane that treasure that was used for that even more.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it's degradation as you read through it. It just total, each time he deals with it, it becomes a little bit worse, a little bit worse. All right. Forge the chain. That's the same word that's used in Jeremiah 27:2. It means the same thing. Chains around their neck. But this is forge the chain, for the land is filled with crimes of bloodshed, and the city is filled with violence. Now he's telling them what's going to happen to Jerusalem. Remember this the whole time. He's looking forward to the destruction of Jerusalem. So this is what will happen, and chains will be put around their neck. So I will bring the most evil of nations to take possession of their houses. I will put an end to the pride of the strong, and their sacred places will be profaned. Their sacred places, by the way, do not include the temple. They've defiled the temple. It includes all the high places that he's already said he's going to deal with. Anguish is coming. They will look for peace, but there will be none. Disaster after disaster will come, and there will be rumor after rumor. They will look for a vision from a prophet, but instruction will perish from the priest and the council of the elders. So he's saying, when this happens in Jerusalem, they're going to truly look for someone who will give them a word from God, but all they're going to hear from is the corrupt priest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You're not even going to get a word from God. All right? The king will mourn, the prince will be clothed in grief, and the hands of the people of the land will tremble. I will deal with them according to their own conduct, I will judge them by their own standards. They will know that I am the Lord. So he ends all of that again by saying that the justice that is coming will look very much like the life that they've lived. Okay? And that's the hard part. Because the life that we live is the life that we choose. No one forces us upon that. In fact, it was forced upon them in Egypt, and God freed them from that.
That's
So
right.
they could have a life of choosing and to choose him.
And they knew this.
They knew it.
Just ridiculous.
They knew it. Yeah. So, yeah, we know it.
We do, but
You know, we
God was in their face. I mean,
yeah.
I-
Well, Jesus can get in our face sometime.
yes, he can, but,
You know,
yes, he can.
he, when we start fooling around with legalism and moralisms,
Yeah.
then what we've decided is that I don't need Jesus anymore to lead my life. I know what is I know the legalism of Christianity. Well, there is none. There's only one thing that's required of a Christian. What is that one thing? Trust Jesus.
That's right.
Everything else flows from that
You follow him and
ever
what's
flowing
the
stream of life. You
Yes.
trust Jesus. That's the one thing. That's all the legalism you got to have. Now, how well you do that is going to determine everything else about your life. Okay? It determines everything. So that one thing. And then moralisms always will lead us to judge. And we will become judges over everything that we see, everything we experience, everything that we know. It is amazing how immoral a government can become, no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, and how eager we are to use those moralisms to judge the other.
Yeah.
I think if our country had to be founded today, it could never happen because the founders knew nothing of this type of judgment of one another.
Exactly.
Because they did not hold moralisms, they held faith, they held trust.
Yeah.
And that was what they held. And they operated, they built the whole thing out of that. But in today's world, everybody wants to be the moralist. Well, how do you do that without Jesus? How do you do that without a clear, viable, daily walk with Jesus where you are listening to his words and trying to follow him in every manner of life? You can't do it. The only thing that happens after that is you wind up judging everybody. And
Only God can do that.
what does that allow for then? Anger. My moralism allows for me to be angry, and I can even call it righteous anger because I know what's best. Well, then what happens the next thing? The next thing is you hate.
Hate, death, and destruction.
Hate follows right behind
We
it.
call it cancel culture today.
Yeah.
Is it cancel?
Have all,
Cancel, we're just gonna cancel.
Yeah.
We can't come there and kill you, because that's still against the
Yeah.
law. But we're
Right.
gonna wipe you
Yeah.
out of our lives, we don't want anything to do
Yeah.
with you, we just cancel.
or come up with different names, and then we try to define everything by those names. So this is kind of what happened here. They knew that Yahweh existed,
Yes.
okay, and they had worshiped him. They knew their history with him, and usually when you have a history, you can at least look back and determine something about your present.
Yeah, we should remember.
Okay, but they had lost sight of all of that, like we've lost sight of that in our day. But we have that. We have that history that we can look back upon, and that becomes that becomes the way in which we move forward, not based on anything that we know other than how we've matured and gained life through Christ. Well, each one have an individual history to look back upon and see how that's worked for us. Okay? So that's the life that we should desire for everybody. Because it hasn't failed us. We make mistakes along the way, but God's allowed for us to make mistakes so that we can, and forgiveness is there when we do. But mistakes are like suffering's a necessary part of the human experience. Mistakes are too. But God has allowed for us to have that privilege of forgiveness so that the mistakes we make do not become life-taking. That they can actually become life-giving.
Yeah.
I preached on this with Peter just a little while back. Peter's life gives us a demonstration of total surrender, of the arrogance that can arise from having what we believe to be a proper walk with Jesus, the utter failure when we make declarations about our faith in him and then we totally blow it, and then his willingness to receive us again and to start. That is almost a lather, rinse, repeat process that brings us to a higher point of maturity. And we have to want that for everybody, because it's the only way that life ever becomes better, not just for the person, but for all of us, so that the kingdom comes and his will be done here. Am I talking way over? Am I making too much?
Where my mind's going too, though, where's the enemy and his influence in all of this too?
Oh, well, I think when Scripture says that be angry but do not sin, I think what Paul was acknowledging, I think for himself, I get angry.
I get angry too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you want to just go knock them around and say, straighten up and listen.
Yeah.
Shake them really hard.
But Paul says we don't do that. We don't sin in it, meaning that we cannot become judges. We cannot become liars. We cannot become any of those moralists. We can't become moralists. We can't become legalists out of our anger in order to make any of those things right. The only thing that we're left to do with our anger is to give it to Jesus. Else, if we don't, Satan will take it. And that's the foothold that he has in our life.
That's kind of been my mantra. I hate to say that, but to like talk about our families, I just say you've been lied to. You're believing a deceiver.
Yeah.
They just look at me and I'm like, just keep believing that way. You're deceived.
Yeah.
I'm just leaving it there. You're deceived.
And we should all understand that a lie is as real as the truth in this world.
That's right.
You know?
It's becoming harder and harder to
Tell the difference.
know the
discern.
difference
Uh-huh.
if you don't have.
If you don't have truth, you gotta have.
Yes.
You gotta
Yes.
have truth.
This is what had this conversation with my son. We were talking about this and how AI, everybody's scared of AI.
I am.
Okay, because you can't trust it.
No.
Yep.
Believers, I don't have to trust it.
Yeah.
See, I've already got a word from the Creator.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have the standard of truth.
And so if artificial intelligence does anything for a believer, it should push you deeper into your relationship with God, because he's never going to lie.
That's right.
And when
That's
it tells
for
you a
sure.
lie, you better know the word.
Yeah, that's right.
So
He's
you
never
know
going to
that it's a lie.
manipulate.
Yeah.
AI can't change the Word of God.
That's right.
Nope.
The only people that try to do that are human beings.
Right.
Okay, so we still are in the same place. No matter how powerful it becomes in the world, it has no power over a believer who is tuned in.
Right.
Okay? And that's the key. It can't be a cheap relationship
No.
where we run to Jesus for answers or we run for solutions to our life. It's a constant, it's exactly what he said it has to be. It's as if he was looking into this day and says that you got to take up your cross daily with me, or otherwise you're going to be
See.
placed on another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only thing so far out of all of this that I cannot get out of my mind is cooking my food over human excrement. That has just blown, I never was that familiar with the siege thing.
Yeah,
And once I started reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought into that.
yeah.
You know,
Well, they turned into cannibals, never mind.
well,
Yes, they did.
exactly, and that just,
And
and all of the situations through our
The
history.
Holocaust is modern day destruction. I mean,
Yes.
We do have that 100 years in our time.
That's
you know,
right.
Yeah.
What they did to those people.
That's
and
right.
what those people had to do to survive.
And we have as recently as
Yeah.
what's happened in Nigeria, and some of what's going on there is unspeakable in here. So, you know, it's,
There's nothing new under the sun. though.
In spite of all that, now in June, Israel is having an LGBTQ month celebration
Where?
in Israel.
in Israel,
Have you heard of it?
yeah.
What the heck?
I know.
Okay.
Israel's not
It's not
what it's supposed to be.
Obviously.
It really isn't, not from what they're doing in
No,
Lebanon.
it's
and
not a
Palestine.
theocracy.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it's not at all, and,
Well, we're just, look at what we're looking at right now.
right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
same
That's
thing,
right.
same thing.
it's
Never looked
scary
at it that
right
And
now.
neither is the United States of America.
No, no, when people start saying that we're a Christian nation, I'm saying, sorry,
Yeah.
but we aren't. We may have been founded on Christian ideals,
That's
We are
right.
certainly
but
extremists.
that's all.
And that's scary because God would say to us and to all the Western nations, never mind China, all those countries, I never sent anyone there or, never
Right.
spread the word there, but you all had my word. What did you do with it?
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
That is very scary.
And that's kind of what I was speaking to this morning,
Yeah.
was our responsibility to those who just believe. So many funerals, y'all, where the only thing somebody can say about the person that's passed is that they were good.
Good people go to hell every day.
And, yeah. So, that's on us.
I had that conversation, I think I told you, my son
Yeah.
lost